Hello there, I'm Jimmy Vegas and welcome to the 11th video in a series of game development tutorials on how to make your own scary survival horror game in Unity. In this tutorial we'll be adding some text when we try to open our door, as well as some sound effects, and we'll add in some ground ambience as well. Remember to subscribe and click the notification bell to stay up to date with every tutorial I upload. Feel free to leave a comment and drop a like. I also have a Patreon page where you can help be a part of this channel. You'll also find all the scripts and the assets to this series there too, along with plenty of other things. You can also now join as a free member. Now, on with the tutorial. So, what can we do with this door? Well, we've got to a point now where we can comfortably try and open it, we get our second camera view, and nothing else really happens apart from go back to the game. So, to give this a bit more oomph, we're going to add in some sound effects, like a locked door sound effect. We'll add in the ambience as well, just kind of bring the atmosphere. And we'll add in some text as well, just to give a description of what is going on, i.e., the door's locked. So we're going to start by bringing in some audio assets. So let's go to our assets folder down here, right click, create, folder, call it audio. And in here, in the same folder, right click, create, folder, and we'll just call this BGM because we might have some other background music and ambience as well. And then we'll create another folder and we'll call it effects. And firstly, let's go into the effects folder and we're going to drag and drop an audio file, which is this locked door sound. And if you go to the pinned comment or go to the link in the description, you can download this for free. Let's go to the BGM folder and let's also import the ambience. So we've got both our audio files in, that's all good. We'll play around with them a little bit later on in the tutorial. But firstly, what I want to do is go to the canvas. And at the moment, we've only got a couple of different things. We've got no text in here at the moment. But we're going to add in some text at the bottom to say the door's locked. So let's go to Game Object, let's go to UI, and let's go to Text. And we'll insert this. And let's simply call this text desc, DESC, short for description. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say the door is locked. Now, what this is over here is a text box that will basically display whatever text you write in it. And we are going to be able to control this a little later on in the series with different scripts at different times to say different things. For now, we just want it to say the door is locked. Let's double click on it over here in the hierarchy. And let's make sure that we can get this in the right position of the canvas. So we need to have the canvas in full view. Let's anchor it to the bottom stretched middle, so right here. And now let's use our rect tool to move the object into an acceptable place. I'm going to expand it so as it fills a little more of the screen. So roundabout like that. And then I am going to scroll down over here. Much like you would in a Word document, you can play around with how it looks. So let's center it. Let's make it italic. And I'm going to just drag this down a little bit more. Make sure it is in the middle. And let's go to our game view and see how it looks. So it currently looks like that. It's hard to see right there. So I think we need to play around with the settings a little bit more, make the font size bigger. Let's say 48. See how that looks. Yeah, that looks fine. You could make it bold if you wanted to or whatever. It's entirely up to you. It is your game after all. What we will do is we will change the font at some point. I've not got a font ready to go for this tutorial, but we will change the font a little later on to make it look a bit better. But what we need to do now is we need to go into our script to be able to add this particular text box in. So we'll do that first, and then we'll modify the script again to add in our sound effect. So if we go to our metal door down here, and let's go to our metal door script right here, and let's open it up in Visual Studio. Now, we are going to add in two variables to this. Obviously, the first one is going to be the text that we see on screen, and the second one is going to be our audio, which will be the sound effect of a locked door. So, in order to do that, let's go to the top where we declare our variables. Let's do the first one, serialize field. And the type is going to be a game object. And we'll call it text on screen. And then the next one, serialize field once again. But it's predicted that this is going to be a game object and says text off screen, but that's not true. This is going to be an audio source. So audio source, and we'll call this locked door. So for now, like I said, we'll just add in the ability to see the text on screen. We'll make sure that works, and then we'll add in the locked door. I've put 4, not door. There we go. So now we need to establish whereabouts in this whole event sequence that we need to place these lines of code. Well, we've got on mouse over, and if we can open, then we say that. And if we come down here, you can see here we say the cam is true, player is false. So down here, this is the area where we need to put that information. So what we'll do is before we wait for 3 seconds, we'll put in a line of code that says text on screen dot set active true. Then obviously the inverse of that will be after we've waited for 3 seconds. So we say text on screen dot set active false. So we turn it off. So let's save that script. Let's head back into Unity now, just to make sure that this works and the placement within our event sequence is correct. And if it is, we can then add in our sound effect. So once it's loaded, it's had a bit of a think about that script. It's a couple of lines, Unity. You don't need to think that hard about it. There we go. So it is, well, I say it's done. It's still hanging about. Come on, Unity. You're taking your sweet time. Right, so let's press play. And let's make sure that this actually works. Obviously, we don't want to be able to see that text on screen. So I've just realized now as we as we press play, we've still got it active on the screen. So what I'm going to do quickly is I'm going to hide it in the hierarchy. So let's turn that off in the hierarchy. Let's head over to our door. Let's try opening it. Oh, of course, we didn't set the variable. Do you know what? I often do that. Get ahead of myself. So let's make sure we are on left metal door. Let's set the text on screen. We don't need to worry about the audio because there is no reference to that at the moment, so that's completely fine. Yeah, I quite often do that, to be honest. I get way too ahead of myself and I forget to set the variable. It's a common mistake a lot of people make in Unity. Okay, so there we go. So let's do that. The door is locked. Brilliant. And then it disappears off screen. So we know that that sequence now works. So how do we get it so as our sound effect plays? Well, if we go to level control, let's right click and let's go to create empty. Let's call this audio. And let's right click on that audio, create empty, and we'll call this sound effects. And on sound effects, once again, let's click create empty and we'll call this locked door. Now, I like to keep everything neat and tidy in the hierarchy so you can see how everything is, parent and child in there. So now what we do is we drag and drop the locked door sound effect onto the locked door object in the hierarchy. And if we click it, we can see a couple of different options for the audio. And the main one we want to look at the moment is this one that says play on awake. We need to untick that because what that will do is as soon as this object becomes active, it will try and play the audio, and we don't want that to happen. We want to be able to play it via a script at any given point. You can play around with the volume or the pitch if you want to, but it's not massively important at the moment. We just want to get this sound effect in place. So let's head back to our script. And after we've got text on screen set active true, let's go down here and we'll say locked door dot play, open close bracket, semicolon, and save. So all we've done at this point is instructed the script to play a sound effect. So if we head back into Unity, all we technically need to do at this point is define that variable in the script. So let's go to left metal door, scroll down, remember that locked door. Let's drag and drop that over here, and let's press play. And now, as we play the game, we should be able to go over to the door and we'll hear that sound effect. So, like I said, this tutorial was mainly about triggering a sound through script, and this is exactly what's going to happen right now. Perfect. Hopefully that came through on the recording. If it didn't, well, I do apologise, but I'm pretty sure it would have done. But if you followed me exactly the same, you would have heard that sound effect in your game. So now let's add in that ambience. So let's go back to the level control up here in our hierarchy. Go to audio, right click, create empty, and we'll call this BGM. BGM is just background music. And all we do is drag and drop this ambience onto there. And make sure play on awake is ticked. And let's also tick loop. And what that will do is it will ensure that this audio continuously loops until it's either turned off or told to stop. So if we press play now, we should have some ambience, some audio as we're walking around. Not music, this isn't specifically music, but you will hear some audio. There we go. Cool. And as I mentioned earlier with the pitch, you could theoretically change it. So if you drag the pitch down, you should be able to hear how the pitch has changed. And I think it really depends on what you want your game to feel like, audio wise. You could have it at the standard 1 pitch, which is as it is standard. You could have it as 2, which is sped up, and anything below 1 is slowed down. So it just gives it that ambient feel, depending on what you want. So, next tutorial, what we're going to do, we're going to create a fade in screen to our level to give it a bit more, game mechanics going on there, kind of fading in. And we'll also add some more lighting. We'll work with the atmosphere of this level as well. And I think we might add in some light models if we can. So we'll add some more ceiling on here and add some light pendants to have light sources, just to give it a bit more atmosphere. So remember to subscribe and click on the notification bell, and you can stay up to date with every tutorial still to come in this series. See you next time.